Good morning, what is up guys? Andy, Forest Dean Runner here, back with another video, and today is another session video. It is 6:05 in the morning and today we're heading out for 15 by K in the next percent 2s. So what I want to do today is get a workout done. What are we now? 10 days out from Bristol half marathon, something that's going to cement half marathon pace. And then we're going to talk a little bit about the next percent 2s because I am really enjoying the shoe, but I have found something that I posted on Instagram last week or the week before that I'm just not quite sure they're the same as the next percent version 1. So I want to talk about that a little bit, but I'm using them today as a session shoe because all in all I want to get them up to 100 miles to give you my feedback on them. So today is going to take them one step closer to that milestone. So the goal is 15 by K. Whether we'll make 15 or not, who knows. It's a little bit cooler this morning, but it has been really warm, so we'll see where fitness takes us. Obviously it's been a funny last few weeks. If I get to 10, if I get to 12 holding pace, I'll be happy with that. The goal is going to be to hold around 5:40s and whatever K time that might be. 5:40 per mile is ultimately what I'd love to be able to hold at Bristol if it's a bit cooler than what it has been at the last 2 half marathons. And yeah, we'll see how we get on. I was meant to be out here about an hour ago with Lee. Hopefully Lee is out here. He had to get out really early. So yeah, I've let Lee down already, which isn't a good start to the day, but hopefully we'll bump into him and I can share about 4 or 5 reps with him before he goes, and then I can carry on and finish. So let's get down to the start and let's get this thing going. Done. Lee's finished. I shared 5 with him. He has obliterated it. I think around an average of like 320 or 321 per K. Mad. It's going alright for us. Seeing first one was 336 and the rest have been between 323 and 331, depending on if it's the down or the up. So yeah, just bloody warm, but simply trying to hold that. So just over 2/3 of the way through, still holding strong. 328s on the way down, 329 to 331 on the way back up, all in the mid 5:30s up to the early 5:40s, but mainly 5:30s, so really promising. 4 to go. there we go. Job done. Held strong. Hold on 2 seconds. Let's go. Got to get a cool down and get back home for the school run. So yeah, held strong in that last 5 328s, 329s, 1 334. I fell asleep on rep 13, but other than that, again, 5:59 average pace for the session, and we held in the 5:30s mainly. Can't ask for more. Shoes did great. Let's talk about the shoes, speaking of the next percent too. So yes, let's sit down and talk about V1 versus V2, because I realise I haven't done that yet, but before we do, let's just give this workout a little bit of airtime, because I'm really happy with how that went. Obviously 15 by a K is no joke. I did that back in marathon training, and I was really scared, to be honest with you, when I did it back then. Although I was in really good shape, the thought of 15 times by a K, it's a Kipchoge workout you might have seen when we did it back in marathon training for Shepherdine in March. I think we averaged like 6:03 average pace on the workout, and I think the rep average was 3:31 or 3:32, and we did that down at Cannock Ponds, which is a nice flat-ish area. Hard to find flat around here, but I did it and I was really happy with it. And today I kind of came in with not much expectation. I wanted 5:40s. I kind of basically, the reason for it is I wanted to do one big workout before Bristol half next week. I knew that doing nothing in the next 2 weeks, I realised that doing anything in the next 2 weeks was really not going to have any bearing on fitness if I went in and around half marathon pace. So I thought, let's dial into half marathon pace and see how it feels, because there's nothing we're going to do now 10 days out that's really going to have a major impact, other than maybe a bit of reaffirmation that the half marathon pace I set myself is okay, and that maybe the last couple of races it was just the heat. I mean, the Severn Bridge was great, I was really happy with that, but obviously Cheltenham was a bit not quite what I wanted, but again, super hot, super scorching day. So that was the purpose of today. Jumped in with Lee. I was a bit late to the workout, as you saw, only caught him for 5 reps, and as you saw in the video, he was gone. He averaged, sit down for this, he averaged, I think, 321, 322 per rep, 520 pace. His average workout pace was 547 per mile. Mind blown. I tried to keep up with him for those 5. There was no chance. He was turning around and going again faster than I could keep up. It was mad. So massive kudos to Lee. He's in great shape leading in to London. And a massive shout out to Chris for getting Lee into that shape. He's done a good job, and fingers crossed Lee can execute the plan in London. For me, as I said, a bit of reaffirmation. Get these shoes on, get them to 100 miles. I'm on 86 now. Let's talk a little bit about V1 and V2, because there is something, I think I've mentioned it on Instagram, some of you may or may not have seen, and I think I've briefly mentioned it on here. There is, the main difference between these two shoes is the upper, the lacing, the structure of it up and around here. Now, I've said in my V2 video, I prefer the upper of the V2, and the lacing, it fits my foot better. This Vapor Weave in V1, yes, it's fine, there's nothing particularly wrong with it. I do feel like my feet cram into it a little bit more. So I was welcoming these changes in the V2. I have to say, much more comfortable, much more breathable, an enjoyable run, especially today, an enjoyable run. And I really do like these shoes, but I'm not the first person to mention it, and I know a few people have mentioned it to me, and I didn't think anything of it until I started racing and thinking about it a little bit more and wearing them both around the house. But I'm sure there's a difference in the foam. I'm not going to bang on about this because Nike obviously say it's the same midsole and outsole and it's the upper that's changed, but they do feel different. Now, when I expressed that opinion on Instagram, I had a lot of you saying, I agree, I sent mine back, or I agree, I'm just keeping mine for training. A handful of you said, you're just dreaming it. Again, I did a YouTube video and I mentioned it in one of the training series, I think, or somewhere. And again, a lot of you said, yep, I agree. And a handful have said, no, mate, it's all in your head. And I agree. You've got to remember, I've had 2 negative races in this shoe, 2 races that did not go to plan. So already I'm going to have a negative association with the shoe. So let's not play that down. Mental is as much part of this thinking process as anything else. But wearing them around the house, kind of jumping around in them a little bit up and down, I genuinely do feel a difference. This does feel softer than this. And someone actually messaged me on Instagram today, believe it or not, saying, I saw your comments, I'd love to give a bit of feedback. They feel like below the seam line of here, so where the midsole splits under where the carbon plate is, that in their Next Percent 2, it's firmer than what it is in the Next Percent 1. I can't say that I've tested that or had a feel of it really. Feeling it now, it feels relatively similar, but I'm literally just doing that right now. So I haven't sat down and thought about it. There's loads of theories that you guys have, and to be honest with you, I have as well. Having said that, I did a great workout in the shoe today, and I ran a 5:36 average pace per mile, feeling comfortable with no issues in the shoe. So let's not sort of get confused here. I don't dislike this shoe. I really, really, really like this shoe. It's the best shoe Nike make, to be honest with you, and I'll take as many pairs of these as I can because they're going to be great. But I do feel that there is something there, and I would genuinely love your opinions in the comments below. What do you think? Have you noticed a difference? I've walked around the house in these, one on each foot, jumped about a bit, as I said, and even just on workouts and runs, I do feel, and I've had bad runs in this, but I've also had really good ones. And I know when I have a bad one, that not to blame the shoe, if that makes sense. I just can't articulate this very well, but I do feel that there's a difference in the foam. Now, I don't think it's a coincidence that these things are much more readily available for people, that the price is a little bit cheaper. I kind of feel like Nike have done something a little bit clever here and kind of brought their prices back in line with other people to not outprice themselves. But I'm wondering if they've maybe tinkered with the chemistry of the midsole to make it a little bit cheaper to produce, to knock it out there. A lot of you have said it feels a bit more plasticky than the original. Again, those are your words, not mine, but I'm not going to disagree with you there. I do think there's a difference. What that difference is, I can't put my finger on it, but there's something. Hence why I'm trying to get this to 100 miles, and I'm kind of going to reserve this for training, and I'm going to pick this up for some races that don't really matter that much. I've got a lot of races coming up, and I'm going to use it a little bit more and hopefully get some positive results in it, and hope that may or may not change my mind of the shoe, but I do think there's a difference. What it is, I don't know, but those are my thoughts. I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below, and if you have stuck around to the end, I appreciate you watching through the workout. I appreciate your support, and I'd love to hear your comments on these two shoes. But that's it from me today. Those are my thoughts on V1 versus V2. As I said, let me know in the comments below. Let's get that discussion going. If you enjoyed today's video, guys, make sure you give it a like, share it with your friends, subscribe to the channel for weekly running content, and as always, I'll see you on the next one. Until then.